Now it's like USA, Canada are the two best. That's the rivalry. They're the ones who play with this level of intensity. It was perfect.
Well, like you just said, like 3 things. Excuse me as a casual if I'm like confused and I don't know what to really pay attention to.
Well, like you didn't know that.
You should have just seen USA versus Canada and been like, I'm in.
Yeah,
That's true.
Were you at a bar?
No, I was in Lake Geneva for the weekend, so I was kind of out of it. If I was home, I would have watched it. Not really.
it was on in Puerto Rico, and I watched it.
I was in the Bahamas. I watched it at the sports book.
Yeah,
Wow.
we're two. It was at 9 o'clock.
We just love our country more.
Yeah, USA baby.
Well, that, I mean,
Also, it felt great. It felt great to root for a big game and have a team involved. Like, when was the last time we had that in Chicago?
Hey guys, Miller Lite. Great taste and less filling. I had some yesterday watching the Daytona 500. You were away, right?
Oh, they had them in Puerto Rico, brother.
That's great.
Via con
Puerto Rico.
Dios, con Miller Lite.
It was nice. It's always good. Always good times, good people. Miller Lite. It's awesome.
I put a little one of those umbrella things in mine.
That's just
Nice.
nice.
Yeah, it
That's
was
real good.
It really hit. It was perfect. A little a beach. What is that? Caribbean? A Caribbean Miller Lite somehow
Hits
might be
better.
my number one Miller Lite.
Yeah, I mean that's what Miller Lite's all about. Having some Miller, some beers with the people in your life that you care about, and just having some good times. Because it has a taste you can depend on. It's no games, no gimmicks. It's just great beer for people who like beer. 96 calories, just 3.2 grams of carbs per 12 ounces. Miller time is always a good time. Miller Lite, great taste. Like I said, 96 calories, and the official partner of the Chicago Bears. Go to MillerLite.com/stretch to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere that they sell beer. It tastes like Miller time, Chicago. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. All right, welcome to the stretch. Jimmy the Greek review coming in a bit. Obviously, like we talked about last week, not much going on in the sports calendar right now.
Disagree.
Well, the Four Nations, but it was weird with no football. Did you feel weird? It was
Yeah, I always feel weird with no football, but I will say with no football, there still was like, it was a pretty good come down from football weekend with the Four Nations, loaded slate of college basketball Saturday. NBA All-Star game sucked. But yeah, Four Nations. NHL kicked the shit out of the NBA this week.
Yeah, it did.
And I'm not
happy.
listen, I like all the sports. I'm a big believer in why can't I like hockey and basketball?
You're not a sick league guy?
Right. Yeah, right. I'm not like put down the other league.
Yeah.
But in this case, and still, I mean, the NBA's ratings are like the NBA is still going to have more people watching than hockey.
Yeah.
But the hockey absolutely crushed their All-Star weekend, and because this was in place of it, and they it wasn't even close. That's such a cool tournament that we still have to see who wins the whole thing. But I think there was debate if the guys would care. Oh, they fucking cared.
Yeah, they cared. I was a little bit worried about that because there was a time when I was a kid where they had like North America versus the world as like a version of the All-Star game. And this is the All-Star break. It is in the middle of the season. And you could tell from the first moment, I think it was Drew Doughty absolutely buried somebody in his first game. And it was like, oh, I guess these guys are going full go.
They care.
They fucking care. And then if there was any doubt that the Chucks were like, no, we're going to fuck people up. We're going to make this a thing. And I think that was one of the best hockey games I've ever seen in my entire life.
So much fun.
Okay, so before we got on camera, he's mad at me for not watching this.
Well, I mean, you got to watch.
So listen,
Yeah.
I'm not against it. I will watch, but can I say I need to understand better what hockey's doing? Because there's juniors and then there's this. I'm a little confused.
This is very simple.
I thought this was a college tournament at first.
It's literally just in place of the All-Star week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
They didn't do an All-Star game. They picked the 4 teams or 4 countries, highest-ranked countries. Obviously, Russia doesn't count. They took out Russia because of the war.
Yeah.
And it's all NHL players. So there was, correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a little debate like Germany got left out. They didn't have enough NHL players to field the full roster. So it has to be NHL players. So it's Finland, Sweden, U.S., and Canada.
It's a sanctioned event between the NHL and the NHLPA. This is the first time they've ever done it. So they've done World Cups and they've done the Olympics. They've done different things. But there hasn't been best on best in hockey since the 2014 Olympics. So you're talking almost
because they stopped having pros being the Olympics,
right,
which
so
they're going to bring back.
They're bringing back.
Was that the Oshie thing?
Yeah,
exactly. That was Declan's Oshie.
Yeah.
That's one
Ed
of my.
wasn't there for that. I was there for that.
That was one of my favorite Barstool moments. Still, like that morning was incredible.
The best.
And I was also like, oh, I guess Barstool Chicago's killing it.
Yeah,
because there was a line down the street at 5 a.m. for that game.
That also might have been because Declan's is like one of the only bars that was smart enough. Well, I talked to Miller before, and I was like, hey, we should do something for this. And I remember there was dudes in the line that hadn't gone to sleep.
They were coming straight from like poorhouse and shit.
Yeah.
Dudes offering me bumps at 6 a.m. and I was like, dude, I actually slept like you didn't. Like I need at least find me in like 2 hours.
Yeah.
I remember you telling Dave Miller, Declan's owner, that we could get 30, 40 people there maybe.
Yeah,
that was like word for word. I remember you saying that.
So awesome.
Like I think 30, 40 people.
That was when I stopped. That's when I officially created a policy that I do not accept shots in public. So if you buy me a shot, it's no disrespect to you. It's 2014 Declan's Oshie game where I had to be peeled off of Wells Street because I was like face down in the middle of Wells Street
at 9 a.m.
after taking so many free shots.
Yeah,
that's two principles
Lee Greenwood
you've always
blasting.
had since I've known you.
Yeah,
it's that I don't accept shots and I don't tweet while I'm drunk.
Yeah, I try not to.
Smart.
That also, it was about around then where it was like I would just be hammered and just be tweeting, be like, what am I doing right now?
Yeah,
you read them the next morning.
Just shut it off.
Yeah,
those are two
rules.
It's
a good rule to have.
Welcome to the clubhouse. Like, here's what I do. Like,
don't tweet when you're drunk because you're gonna look like a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
I've even taken it a step further. I don't tweet when I'm sober now. It often gets me.
Well, your sober brain is a drunk brain.
Yes.
Yeah. But yes, that was the last time that it was the best on best.
Okay.
So this, like, when you have the lineup comes out and it's like the Canada's first power play unit is Crosby, McKinnon, and McDavid. It's like, holy shit, and they care. And USA Canada is been a great rivalry. It's been kind of fueled by World Junior, where we've won 2 in a row and 3 out of 5. And this is the first time where it's like, all right, let's actually see now who's the best, because the United States hockey has gotten better and better and better over my entire life. When they won a World Cup when Keith Tkachuk beat the shit out of Canada in the 90s. That was like a huge upset. Now it's not really like a miracle. Now it's like, hey, these are the 2 best, and there's so much pride, and we just USA and Canada just play the game differently. Like, you're not going to have these fights between Sweden and Finland. Like, this is the only game that really matters. At that level where the intensity is going to be that way, and it delivered like I couldn't even fathom.
And there's a political element now.
There's a political,
obviously, with Trump.
Also, like,
talking tariffs.
Yeah, I mean, it was like bad blood. It was awesome.
That's what the anthem, right?
Right.
Yeah, which I don't give a fuck about.
Who cares?
Was it kind of like cool? Like,
yeah, I like it.
Fucking give me all the hate.
I boo it back.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna be booing, and I love the Canadian national anthem, and I love Canada.
You're gonna be in the buildings.
I'm gonna be in the building. I'm gonna boo it. I'm gonna boo it as hard as I can.
Yeah.
And I love Canada, but it's just like,
I want to boo off.
boo for boo. Yeah. Yeah. So
I want that.
I hope the people in Boston do the same thing back.
You think those scumbags are gonna be all nice?
I don't know. It's a hockey crowd. We'll see how it goes. But I will be booing. Maybe you'll just hear me on TV. I'll be the one guy booing. Yeah.
But it was awesome.
It's just 2 teams. Like,
no, it's 4 teams round robin.
Sweden, Finland, USA, Canada.
So obviously Russia has a.
No, but did they both play each other once? Or
yeah,
everybody plays
round
Russian.
robin.
So you have to.
Final.
All
So
right.
depending on what happens this afternoon and tonight, it could be USA Canada rematch.
We're already in the final. It's
Correct.
easy. It's 3 points for a regular regulation win, 2 points for an overtime win.
Okay.
Yeah.
This sounds awesome.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And the guys are trying, like, you had the Charlie McAvoy's defenseman for the Bruins absolutely laid out Connor McDavid at one point in the game, which was like a pure, almost not, I wouldn't call it necessarily a hip check, but like both guys went flying. It was perfect. And they played the USA, like you had guys like Jack Hughes, who's normally just kind of freewheeling, making plays, like committed defensively. Like everybody had a role. Everybody was playing together, trying to win. It was, when hockey is like that, this is my.
It was like playoff hockey.
It was playoff hockey,
middle
but
of February.
with the best players ever. So it was a perfect hockey game. It's a great tournament. They also announced that they're bringing back the World Cup. So this year they have this. Next year it's the Olympics I think it's in Milan, and they're using NHL players for that. And then 2 years after that, so it's going to be every 2 years in between the Olympics. So every 2 years they're going to have a major international tournament where the NHL and their players will be involved. So after that, it's going to be the World Cup. So I've heard that in 2 years they anticipate Russia being allowed back in, and then they're going to have like Germany, Switzerland, these other countries.
So
too.
Ovechkin cannot play right now.
No.
Ovechkin's on a beach somewhere.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So
That kind of that sucks.
Yeah,
well, whatever.
Well,
but
yeah.
it's always like it's always USA Canada no matter. Like that's the biggest rivalry. Like 50 years ago it was USA Russia, Canada Russia.
Yeah.
Now it's like USA Canada are the two best. That's the rivalry. They're the ones who play with this level of intensity. It was perfect.
Well, like you just said, like 3 things. Excuse me as a casual if I'm like confused and I don't know what to really pay attention to.
But like you didn't know that.
You should have just seen USA versus Canada and been like, I'm in.
Yeah.
That's true.
Were you at a bar?
No, I was in Lake Geneva for the weekend, so I was kind of out of it. If I was home, I would have watched it. Not really.
It was on in Puerto Rico, and I watched it.
I was in the Bahamas. I watched it at the sportsbook.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're two. It was a 9 o'clock.
We just love our country. More.
Yeah. USA, baby.
Well, I mean,
Also, it felt great. It felt great to root for a big game and have a team
Yeah.
involved. Like when was the last time we had that in Chicago?
that's exactly why I'm pissed at that. Because you throw the stars and stripes on a jersey, I'm all in. Typically, I just didn't really know of its existence until I saw.
And it matters.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, and this is like this is probably my least favorite 3-week stretch of the sports
Yeah,
calendar.
obviously, yeah.
So you need to avoid
Because
Phil.
like the summer obviously gets dead around All-Star break, but it's still the summer, so you can go outside.
Yep.
This is the worst. The minute the Super Bowl ends till conference tournaments start, it's like, God damn it, this
yeah.
sucks. So this was awesome.
And this is like America, USA. If you could design a way you want a team to be, it's this. They're big, they're mean, they're tough, they're fast, they're skilled. They were the easiest team of all time to get behind, and you guys were.
I watched the Daytona 500. Did you guys watch that? That's America.
Yeah, there's a rain delay.
Cool.
I know.
Yeah.
Why would you?
There's always a rain delay.
Yeah.
I know, but still.
You're trying to compare the two?
What? What's wrong with that? That's fucking cars.
Are you
and
trying to
fast
compare
engines,
the two?
Fucking motor oil.
I know you don't care about it. I know you
What
don't
do you
care.
mean? It's
Thursday, you better care.
I'm not too
I'll
late.
care.
Yeah, I'm not too late.
Okay.
But you did miss the greatest
I'll be
hockey
there
game
no
of
matter
my
what.
life. Okay.
I'll be there.
We got to win on Thursday.
We have
Otherwise,
to. It's
I,
all for
I've
naught.
written a lot of checks I can't
Yeah.
cash on Thursday
if we don't win.
lose. Yeah.
So are we gonna? Is Canada gonna win?
Depends on what happens at noon today.
Okay.
They have to win in regulation for our game to not matter.
Right.
If they win in overtime and we lose in regulation, it won't be Canada USA.
Right. And I like theoretically, United States could like punt that game,
Yeah.
and not like try to lose.
Which people were mad at me because I implied that could be a possibility on PMT, and they're like, that's soft. I do think it would be very funny if Canada didn't even make the final.
it would be fun.
That'd be very funny.
It would
mean,
be
they
funny,
would-
but it'd be terrible.
Yeah, I
Like,
know. I
want
want to see it, but I would. It's like a spin zone I can use in a different way, being like, you guys didn't even make the final.
It'd be
Yeah.
a country in ruin. Like what would they do? Hockey's what they do.
And this is like,
They won a cup in how long? Like
and people are getting so bent out of shape about like the 51st state thing. There's no way that's gonna happen. So it's like a fun little like troll, but there's no way.
Yeah.
that people get so mad, and then we're getting mad at them booing the anthem. Like, who cares? Like, can't we just have fun and watch sports and just have little like troll offs?
Yeah.
are they actually mad?
Oh well, there
I
was.
think some.
It was weird. It was like there was people who were mad that the anthem got booed from our side, and I was just like, what? Like talking about troops and everything. It's like, dude, it's
What?
sports. It's sports.
Yeah.
This isn't like
Yeah.
You know what? I'm on their side.
And then there was Canadians apologizing, which was very funny.
That is. Oh, I didn't see
I
that.
saw
That
a
is
couple
funny.
Cold Cuts did. Joey Cold Cuts. He was like, that
What
was
did
just a
Greer have
French.
to say about it?
Greer's rooting for America.
Yeah, yeah. He wants the 51st state.
No,
I'm sure, right?
he's
Anti-Trudeau.
No, he says
Who's the new guy?
He says he's the model immigrant, so he's and he's a Red Wings fan, and there's a bunch of Red Wings on the team.
That's true. Dylan Larkin, game-winning goal.
Yeah.
So another like Dylan Larkin, another guy who was always first-line center, the offense, the play driver. He's a fourth liner. He's in like a checking line. Like his job is to try to stick with McDavid on many shifts. Same thing with Jack Hughes. So it's like guys are just like everyone on this team is bought in. It's beautiful. It's a perfect way to do All-Star Weekend.
And there's only 2 Blackhawks in the whole tournament, right?
Teuvo Teravainen plays for Finland. He's out for the game today, so I don't know if that's a healthy scratch or if he's got a little nick. But yeah, he's out. And then I don't even know who the other
And
guy.
Bedard was just not
Yeah, he's not good enough.
okay.
Yeah, Yeah.
Which there's a lot of
Biz
guys.
is
really
yeah.
good team.
yeah. It's a stacked team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Biz is now like fully in the shit, getting hate from.
Has he been doubling down or?
Yeah, so he and like the Blackhawks official social media tweeted him. Did you see that?
No.
They did a side by side of Bedard's last like 20 games
Oh, I did see that.
versus
Yes.
Biz's entire career of points, and then Biz did probably 20 minutes on Spit and Chicklets, kind of doubling down on everything that he said. And
I
why he
do
said it.
think I'll defend Biz in this one. In this
Biz is right.
respect. Well, not only that, just I don't like when it happens to like Orlovsky, where they'll be like, "Dude, you were a bum in the NFL, or you're a bum
it's
in."
crazy.
You can't talk about the game if you didn't have an incredible career. A lot of times, the guys who had incredible careers can't talk about the game very well because it came so easy to them.
Well,
they can't explain it the same way.
Definitely.
Messier is a top 5 or 10 player ever, and people said that he wasn't allowed to criticize Bedard either. So
Right.
Old man yells at clouds.
Yeah.
It's just like
Abraham Simpson.
Like Biz played in the NHL. Like he can talk about hockey.
And if Biz didn't do all the little things right, he's not in the NHL.
Right.
So because if we're being honest, not a lot of skill. He's a tough
Right,
guy.
he had to think the game a lot more too. Like,
Correct.
You know how to actually like get into the NHL. So,
Right.
Yeah, I always actually think it's like I said, it's Orlovsky. Orlovsky, everyone being like you're a backup for so long. It's like I don't know, dude. Like if you ask Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, like how, like obviously they can tell you coverage and everything, but a lot of it is just they were better than everyone.
Correct. Yeah.
We have like hundreds of hours, thousands of hours of Biz on camera. Hockey's one of the things that he knows the best.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
I don't like when they do the stats.
Yeah.
It's
I feel like-
crazy. Yeah. I thought it was
It's a
fair.
good
I thought it
troll.
was fair
It's a
play.
good joke, but
Yeah.
it's not the Blackhawks PR. It's more like actual
Yes.
fans being like,
Yes.
dude, you had this many points. You have no right to talk about it.
So wait, you are?
Yeah,
Right.
Like you
Right.
what makes you an
Right.
authoritative
Yeah.
voice on Connor Bedard?
And if Bedard played with the level of detail that Biz played with, he'd be on Team Canada.
Yeah.
Like that's because Bedard has all the talent in the world. So if he just cleans up all the stuff that Biz and others are saying, then he will be everything we want him to be.
I remember
So-
Hawk Harrelson said that he'd rather have a 20th round pitcher, something like to the effect of this, because those guys had a 90, but they had to learn how to dot I's and
Yeah, that's why
manage
like
right
catchers
zones.
make really good
managers.
Yeah.
Exactly, because
commentators. Yeah.
they have to quarterback the
Right.
entire,
Yeah.
the defensive alignments, bunt coverage, like everything. So there is something to that, is what I'm saying. So
But yeah, the NHL kicked the shit out of the NBA this week.
Yeah. What?
We had a little. It was tight. Did you guys see any of the NBA?
Every time I was
ironically
watching,
enough, yes, I did. I flipped it.
I
on.
saw LeBron opted out.
Opted out. Little Boozy Vert had a tough time in the dunk contest.
oh, did he?
Yeah, he got. I watched one round of his, and it was like I think the first 3 dunks he got stuffed at the rim. That was tough.
Yeah.
Could
Well,
you ever dunk?
No,
Shit happens.
Not tennis ball or nothing.
no, just not athletic.
I would flip over.
Not
From,
athletic.
I would flip over from
I'm gonna
SNL
try to dunk
50
this year.
to NBA,
Yeah.
and every time I turned it on, they weren't playing basketball.
Yeah, no, that was stupid. That was they only have one shot to make it the Four Nations type of hype, and they won't do it. So
What's that?
they could split the teams a certain way.
How do you
Alex Caruso would have to play for
Right.
us.
Do you get what he's saying?
yes.
Yeah. That would be
That would get
awesome.
Get people very interested.
yeah.
I don't think they want to go down that path.
They don't.
But yeah, no, the NBA All-Star game sucks.
That's why I wish people would just relax. Can't we just see that? That would be fun.
That
would be fun.
Doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I mean the NBA All-Star game though, yeah, it sucks. There's nothing.
I don't know if you need an in-season tournament and an all-star break.
Yeah,
Can't you do
I
something?
think the All-Star break is just for corporate sponsors and everything.
Yeah.
They just shake hands, bring everyone out there.
Do you buy that the league is worse than it was 10 years ago, the NBA?
No, it's different. I
A worse
we had
product,
Russillo
I guess.
on PMT today, and he was saying like it depends. The people who complain, being like, I stopped watching after the China thing, or
come on.
or 2020. It's like, dude, you were never watching. I do think, yes, the teams that are there's a style of basketball that does get a little annoying to watch, and it's just like teams chucking 43s a night. But no, I mean, I think the players are more skilled than ever, and like when people say they don't try on defense, I think they do try on defense a lot. I think it's just offense is that much ahead of it.
Do you think they should bring back like hand checking and things like that to balance
Maybe.
it?
I mean, in the reviews and stuff like that, I just hit my mic. Oh, there it is. The reviews, which they're trying to clean up. I think it's I like. Well, I think more than anything, it's kind of the problem that all sports have right now outside of football is that the seasons are just too long, and the playoffs are great. I love NBA playoffs, but I can't get up for game 43. Whereas in the NFL, week 7 still feels huge because there's only 17 of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Last year was the most playoffs I've watched in the NBA. In a while.
Yes, I would agree.
There was some good parity, and there still is parity, which is good.
Parity is
but
good.
You do get tired of these trades, and then it's like, all right, like I'm buying into this team. This is so cool, and it's like, all right, then he's just going to move again.
They're also in a transition phase because they've had LeBron and Steph and KD be the face of the league for 15 years, and those guys are old, so they got to find who's going to be the new
version.
class and the new version. Yeah,
and it felt like it might be Luka, and then it's like, wow. And maybe it still will be.
Still has a chance, in LA.
Yeah. I don't know. And I think they need more rivalries too. Like that, like back when they had, Bulls Pistons, Bulls Pacers, Knicks Heat, like you would tune in on a random Tuesday in the winter if it was those teams.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is kind of, I don't know. It feels like that's not.
And they still, like the East is boring right now.
But and I do think that there's just so many things you can watch now. It's kind of it's like the death of the monoculture. Like even going back to Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show. Like there's a lot of people who that was the first time they saw Kendrick Lamar, whereas 25 years ago, when you don't have any streaming, you have, however many channels, everyone knew the most famous people, and there wasn't all these pockets of like, I watch this, I watch that, I watch this. So
yeah, like can you honestly recommend someone watch game 32 of an NBA game versus like a good Netflix show?
Yeah, it depends on who's playing, but it's
hard.
It's a hard pitch.
Yeah.
It's an absolutely hard pitch.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Well, and that can almost be a transition into that Jimmy the Greek, because they were saying that Sunday NFL show would get like, I don't know if the ratings mean exactly.
Yeah, right.
Like the whole country.
Most famous people.
Yeah, they said he was one of the 5 or 10 most famous people, most recognizable people in the country.
Yeah, I will say the NBA in-season tournament, I actually think has been good. I thought it was silly when they first announced it, but the guys do try hard, and it is fun to watch, and it does feel like a little different, special in that, slump of the season, December, where you're trying to look for something. So they did do well with that.
Yeah, I haven't listened yet, but you had Silver on PMT.
Yes.
Does he seem like a guy who's like in over his skis?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I think he's pretty good at what he's doing. I think there's some challenges for the NBA, but he seems like he understands where people's complaints are for, like whether it be the reviews taking so long, or the trades and everything, and people losing the love for their team because the guy gets traded or asks out. So I think he understands it. There's just a lot of challenges.
Seems like he's lost all control though. Like they really want people to care, and they keep tweaking it, they keep changing it. Nobody cares. Draymond fucking ripped the format in the pregame. Like
I also think that more than anything, like with hockey, basketball, and baseball, I really don't think it's as much. I think the death of those sports, quote unquote, is overstated, and it's more that the NFL is just so massive. Like the NFL has just become such a cultural force, and the season never stops, and there's stories all the time, that it's not like those sports are dying. It's just the NFL is just lapping them now to such an extent that it's not even close.
But if there's a race for second, if I'm Gary Bettman, I'm walking around my schlong out today.
Yeah, but I would, at least from my perspective, it does still feel like the NHL is a distant force.
Yeah, I know the NBA rating. That's the thing. That's kind of what I'm saying with the perspective, of the NBA is dying. The NBA, I think, is still easily second.
Yeah.
In terms of ratings,
probably.
So and rights packages and all that stuff. So it's not like the NBA's in a death spiral. It's just the NFL has gone that far ahead of it, and like stealing Christmas Day and that shit, where it's. It's like they just take whatever they want. The NFL is gonna. The schedule, they basically told us, but the schedule in 2 years, I believe. So the Super Bowl in LA is gonna be on Valentine's Day. So that just tells you that it's probably gonna go to another game. There's gonna be 18-game season. Yeah. So it's just that's another stretch where now the NFL is August through end of February, and the draft and free agents agency, and so they just control everything.
They own it. We're becoming like England, where it's like we're a one sport nation, and everything else is secondary.
It's kind of crazy. Although I will say
the thing I did hear about that though is that Goodell's ideal scenario is 18 games, and you play because everyone wants the Monday after the Super Bowl should be a national holiday.
Yeah, that would be President's Day.
So that'll be President's Day.
Yeah, that would be today. Yeah.
Yeah. So like you would play the Super Bowl on Sunday before President's Day. Everybody has Monday off. So
awesome.
it's like you did it.
And they can't do much more after this, right? But who knows? I
don't know.
They're fucking
They could add more teams.
I don't know, dude.
Because they haven't had expansion in the NFL.
If they add another bye, they could do anything.
Yeah.
True.
Like if they added 2 byes, why can't they go to 20 games?
That'd be fucking madness.
It would be crazy. I do think there's a limit, obviously. Like when you get to 20 games, then the games don't matter as much.
Well, I think a lot of people said that they were kind of footballed out after, like, it was playoff games Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
I think a lot of people
college
said that, considering the fucking stress that the Bears put us through this year. But
that's playoff.
At the same time, I was kind of footballed out. But I think that there's something to just how shrunken the attention span.
That's exactly right.
It's a 17-game season right now instead of 162 or 82.
Yeah.
You know,
every game feels insanely important. If you lose 2 or 3 in a row in the NFL, your season feels like it's over.
Yeah.
I mean, I never would want to do it just because I love tradition, but you could gut half the baseball schedule.
Oh yeah.
And the pandemic kind of proved that.
Yeah.
Will anyone make a bold enough move to do something like that?
There's too
because there's too much money.
Yeah.
But can't there just be more money put towards those?
No, because think about it. Like, do you think Jerry Reinsdorf is gonna be like, yeah, let's play 60 games in the NBA? I'll give up
20,
11 or 10, nights where I can pack the United Center.
20. That's 400,000 people.
No
20 games.
I get it, but
I think don't they make like $1 million
something like that?
Something like that when there's a game. So it's been like, hey, just give up $10 million.
Yeah, but at one point, can you argue like, hey, our time now?
I don't even think the players would do it. Like for all the stuff the players are saying, like those are game checks.
Yeah,
you'd be asking everybody to take a 10
prorated
10% cut. Like I don't think they'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I do think there's a UFC conversation that is moving rapidly towards.
I would agree with that.
The 4 major sports.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And I think they're in a lull right now.
As someone who watches every Saturday now, they are in a bit of a lull. A lot of the same champions on the same pay-per-views and everything. Like I'm sick of watching Alex Pereira, but I think it's making I look forward to watching that more than baseball right now. If you would have said that to me fucking 5 years ago, I would have said you're batshit fucking crazy.
Yeah, no, the UFC's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've done a good job.
They have done an awesome job, and Dana White is crushed. Like that is like we love Saturday mornings waking up. I think they can find a way with they need the fighters obviously, but just have it Saturday like with college football in the off season. And there's your Saturday mornings.
Yeah, I'm still a college basketball guy. That was tough for Illinois. The Terrence Shannon jersey.
That was so
down.
What do you like? What was going like? Huh. Wait, hold on.
And they scored -2 points in the last 6.5 minutes because there was a goaltending review that they went back. Like there's a screenshot you could see they were up 67-66 with 6 minutes left, and they lost 79-65. So they lost 2 points.
Indiana, who'd they lose to?
UCLA.
Ryan.
Yeah.
So they got smoked at home by UCLA.
They only lost by 4, but yeah.
They were getting smoked. I turned it off. I saw.
Yeah.
But obviously UCLA is pretty good. They're a blue blood typically, historically. But when is Indiana? Because they're not a tourney team.
No.
Me, you, and Lance and White Boy Rick. We're talking about it on the way to the auto show last week, and I'm like, I don't know if you can.
It was the day they announced that they're firing
Woodson. Yeah. I don't know. Like they're just a middling program.
Yeah.
But they're still Indiana. Like you're trying to say that they don't matter. Like
Indiana, I didn't say that.
You said that they're on the same level as Wisconsin and Illinois, which is insane.
Look at what they've done the last 20 years.
There's a difference. There's a different conversation you're having. Indiana, Wisconsin's been far superior program the last 20 years.
So how long?
But Indiana still has the ability to somewhere. It's kind of like the Nebraska debate in football. Like at some point they could probably figure this out and turn it around.
I think it's a little different than Nebraska.
And their ceiling's going to be higher.
Nebraska lost their super fertile recruiting ground when they moved from Big 10 to Big 12.
Well, they
Texas.
didn't.
They had a lot of issues.
Nebraska's deeper than that. I made the wrong hires. They
Sure.
always had trouble recruiting in Nebraska, but they always had a really good culture of finding Nebraska guys and building them up and pumping them steroids and all that shit.
Yeah.
But
Either way,
how long
ceiling-
does IU have to be doing what they've done for 20 years where you're just like, they're not?
IU, like Indiana is a basketball state. They're so close to Chicago. Like
Sure.
if they have the right coach, they have all the money. They can turn the faucet back on in a way that Nebraska probably
But
can't.
they haven't done that.
They have
haven't.
not done it. They have
So
not
if
done
they
it, but
don't
there
do that
is
for
still-
another how long,
I
when do you stop saying they're a
I
blue
get that,
blood?
but it's still
Assembly
in there
Hall.
somewhere where I'm not stupid. Like I said, Wisconsin's been far better program the last 20 years than Indiana. But Indiana, if they ever get right, it still has a higher ceiling.
Right.
Well, NIL's equal.
They haven't done it.
'Cause Indiana's
That is
a lot of-
that is an ultimate equalizer as well.
Yeah, like they should be able to turn it around faster.
They should.
with NIL.
need to
That's
hire the right
my
coach.
point. I'm not I'm just bringing up the argument. I'm not saying they're not. I'm saying that I think there is a time period where you're just average or a little better for so long where you can no longer say, "Hey, I'm a blue blood."
But this, I mean,
I
Notre
agree
Dame,
with you, Dave.
Notre
You could
Dame
have said that
football,
for Michigan
yeah,
for football.
and you could have said it for Notre Dame football too. Like Notre Dame was just in a national championship, but they went a long time where people like argument and the
but
jab
they've been
was that
around there.
Notre Dame was
they've
irrelevant.
floated around the playoffs.
They lost
forever.
to fucking UConn under Charlie Weiss. So they went from Bob Davie to Willingham to Charlie Weiss. It was all.
They're consistently top 5, top 10 though. Yeah,
You forget that they went 3-9 and 4-8 in multiple years. Notre Dame is
what
irrelevant.
has
was
Indiana
a quote.
done since that they beat Duke in 2002?
Yeah, no, I don't.
I mean, Tom Crean had him ranked number 1.
Yeah, they.
But yeah.
Did he?
Yeah,
They've had
they
one.
had the Tyler Zeller. and-
Oladipo years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oladipo. Okay, but I mean that Victor Oladipo. How long? He was like 2010.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. I'm not saying it hasn't been a while, but you're saying that you in the car said that they're at a level with Illinois and Wisconsin, and it's just
They
like,
have been. They
Been
have
lower
been.
than us, to be honest. But yeah.
right.
That's-
Big win for the Badgers Saturday.
But they are
Yeah,
more. They
huge
are.
win.
You were trying to
Saw that.
remove their blue blood status.
I
You
wasn't.
can't.
I'm saying how I'm asking the exact question.
Lance.
Asked. How
Lance.
long do I have? Do they
I
have?
think
Lance.
it's unlimited time.
It was a direct quote. Indiana is not a blue blood.
Thank you, Lance.
do you think
take
you
away
can't
their
lose?
blue-
You can't
no,
take
you
away a
can't.
blue blood status?
Probably
No.
not. I mean, they'd have to do it for another 20 years.
Okay,
But it
so
is
the-
kind of crazy how many teams have lost all their mystique. The U, Florida State, like
Yeah.
so many of these teams that were.
But I think
On
Florida
top
State will
forever.
come back. Like Florida State will be back. Like I know Florida State will be back.
Yeah, I'd agree.
You'd hope, but it's been pretty tumultuous.
Yeah. But like then Texas was down for a long time, and Michigan was
for
down.
the longest time.
Right.
But it's, I mean, I'm not going to say Michigan's going to disappear completely because their NIL money is crazy, clearly.
Portnoy
But-
won't let them.
Yeah, but like, if they didn't have that, I could easily see them sliding back down. They weren't.
Well, they
this
didn't
year.
have it for the last couple of years of Harbaugh, and they were back. I mean, Rich
Yeah.
Rod and Brady Hoke, like those years were really bad for Michigan.
Right.
They were
Yeah.
Yeah.
irrelevant.
500
Oh, yeah.
teams.
And then they came back up, but then I think I kind of want to. They would have slid down.
I just still think there's something to be said about there's certain schools where if they can get the right hire and the right money, their ceiling is just going to naturally be higher.
Correct.
I don't.
And that's really what
Why
it comes
can't
down
that
to.
be Illinois or Wisconsin though? Especially
money.
in the NIL area.
I think Indiana probably has more money.
For basketball, certainly.
Why can't? Why do they have to though?
I don't know.
They have 5 national championships, and it created a historical basketball culture at a school that's all they really have. They had a nice year for football, and that was fun for them. But they are a basketball school, and there's not a lot of basketball-only schools in America. They're one of them. It's like Duke, Kansas, and them.
Bobby Knight was almost the Wisconsin
UConn,
coach.
Marquette,
One of the biggest.
Nova,
Really? When was that?
Georgetown.
It was one of the biggest what ifs in college basketball. He flew to Madison. He was the Army coach. He flew to Madison.
Oh, way back. Wasn't the
Except-
Texas Tech one.
No, accepted the job or verbally accepted the job. Said I want to fly back and tell my wife and the team before we announce anything. And a reporter announced it, and he was like, "Fuck this, I'm not coming." And then went to Indiana.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Could have been totally
That's
different.
wild.
Yeah,
yeah, that would have changed the whole world.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's nuts.
Crazy butterfly effect.
Yeah.
I don't know. My larger point is that Indiana, their fans are, I think, some of the most sneaky, insufferable fans on earth, and I think their basketball program has been largely just completely whatever. and I don't really see it changing. Who are they going to hire?
Oh, you're not wrong. It has been mostly whatever.
Yeah. They keep thinking they're going to hire Brad Stevens. I think he keeps saying no.
I wish he would take the job.
I wish he would too.
We lost so many classic coaches
Yeah.
in recent years. It'd be great to just get some new ones in there like him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause he'd instantly be.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was
that's
already
an
a Butler.
instant
so.
hire.
Yeah.
Is he from Indiana or is he
He's from
born,
Indiana.
bred, Butler?
No, he's from
worked
Indiana.
Cubs missed out on Bregman.
Yeah.
That was disappointing
Yeah, it was.
because they made an offer and they just weren't competitive in the offer.
Yeah, it sounds like nobody was close.
Yeah.
$40 million a year is wild.
Yeah. It'll be a 1-year deal probably.
Yeah, he has
He
opt-outs.
has opt-outs.
Yeah.
But still, it sucked. I was hoping that he was going to sign with the Cubs.
Yeah.
I hope.
Did he get back to you when you shot him that text?
I did. I talked to him on the phone, and he was like, yeah, I'm just waiting for basically my best offer. And then that happened like 2 days later. So
Damn. I mean, I hope it was more. I mean, it's probably not. It's probably more money induced, but I hope it was more. We love Shaw, but
I
think it was money.
absolutely.
it was definitely money induced. But
Which
I don't
makes-
even.
I think you saw Jed. Jed had a comment where he looked kind of beaten up, where he was just like, yeah, I wanted him. Like, what are you going to do?
yeah,
Yeah.
Fuck.
That's one of those, like, $40 million for a guy at that age. At that, like,
What
But
is
the
it,
opt-outs,
30?
you can just opt out. I think is it mutual opt-out?
no, I
No,
thought
it's just player?
Alex Bregman.
I'm pretty sure it's just player. So it's
So you wouldn't have gone there
3 for
is what you're saying?
120.
3 for 120. Yeah.
I don't know. This is where it's like a little bit outside of my realm. It was big time sticker shock when I saw that though.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a really good player.
Yeah, 3 years, and he's like one of those guys he'll want up in October.
Yeah, and I don't begrudge
Yeah.
him. I mean, you have one last shot at it.
Definitely.
Go get, like, if the Cubs were offering $90 million, there's a big difference between
Yeah.
120 and $90 million.
For sure.
Yeah. And it's like, I will be very angry in July if they don't take the money that they were going to spend on Bregman to go improve the roster to make sure you win the division and go on a run. So if they are reinvesting that money that they're like, hey, we just can't go, we have $30 million more dollars, and if it doesn't go back into the team, then I'll be pissed. But for now, it's like, all right, you lost
Well,
out.
where is that? There's no one left to sign.
Well, if you trade for a guy that has a big number attached,
Okay.
Put it all towards.
That's not going to have. I mean, once pitchers and catchers report, that's typically.
I said in July.
Or in July. Yeah. I mean, if I'm a Cubs fan and I see that money was the reason that the
It was.
ownership wouldn't put
It was.
the best player in the field, I'd fucking be pissed.
I am pissed. It was. It absolutely was. That's just what it is.
It's
Ricketts wants to just put together a team that's just good enough to win the Central. Not
he is
anything higher.
the epitome of Jerry Reinsdorf's quote.
Yeah.
Get to the playoffs, get the, like, even second place. Like, if you got that carrot dangling, there's hope at the end of the year. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other Chicago sports before we get into the legend of Jimmy the Greek?
I would like to give a quick shout out to Bobby Jenks. Bobby Jenks was I don't know. It was publicized at least. He has stage 4 stomach cancer.
Oh.
Shout out to Bobby Jenks. I've met him a few times. Just awesome dude, super funny, everything you'd expect him to be. It sucks. It really sucks. He had a quote saying like, "Hey, he's out in I want to say
Portugal.
Yeah, at a hospital in Portugal." And he's like, "Hey, I'm not dying in this hospital, so like you guys haven't seen the last of me." So Bobby Jenks, we're thinking of you. So that's all I got on the White Sox.
All right. Hey, let's pause to talk about ChevyDriveChicago.com. Chicagoland, it's cold out, and it's important to make sure your car is running right. ChevyDriveChicago.com has you covered. Whether you need a local dealer to check your engine and tires in this cold weather, or you're ready to shop for a new SUV or EV from the Chevy lineup, your local Chevy dealer has everything you need.
I mean, you're speaking my language now. All the little features in that Blazer that just make winter so much better, the remote start, the seat warmers, bad weather, doesn't matter. Doesn't impact me. You just click that little button, switch it into 4-wheel drive, super easy.
Don't have to get worried about getting stuck.
Never.
It's nice.
Let me tell you something. That Chevy Blazer, it's never been stuck. And so we talked about this before, but I went to the auto show, found my Blazer, went back to ChevyDriveChicago.com, typed in my zip code, went to my local dealer, test drive, found the one that worked for me. I'm a Chevy Blazer guy.
Did they give you a little logistical help too, like bringing the car to you?
Yeah, they absolutely did. So when my test drive, when I wanted, they brought it here to the office. So I test drove it and then drove it back and then signed the papers and away I went. So the service,
It makes the car buying process very easy.
They could not have been better. And that's a very stressful thing to do. And
No one likes going to a lot and getting bombarded by 20 dealers.
So
you know?
they really do it the right way in my experience. So can't recommend the people at Chevy Drive Chicago enough. So if you're in the market, it's a great time of year to do it. As we've talked about in this show, there is no weekend events right now. So make sure this is a good time to get down to those local dealers.
All you have to do is go to ChevyDriveChicago.com and find that local dealer today. Go do it. All right. Jimmy the Greek, everyone watched it?
Yeah.
First and foremost, it's crazy just to think where gambling is now.
Yeah.
It's so taboo. Like, he had to talk on his broadcast in
Code words.
codes. Yeah.
I also feel like this 30 for 30 just wasn't that good.
It wasn't that good.
The narrator and stuff, like the voice of Jimmy the Greek, it felt like, you guys might not remember it, but they did it in like 99, 2000. They did like the Sports Century where they did, I think they ranked every athlete.
Yeah.
And it felt like that.
I remember that.
Production wasn't very good. But yeah, the whole time, I mean, it is crazy seeing how far sports gambling's come. And the whole time I also was thinking, like, he would have definitely been hired by Barstool.
Oh yeah. But like, and your kind of character
On Sports Finder, I mean, Super Finder, yeah.
it's similar.
Yeah.
You know, when
Yeah.
you have the chains and the glasses, and you kind of look like him.
Yeah.
That wasn't intentional, was
No,
it?
I mean, it was more off of Stu Finder.
yeah.
But Stu is.
Stu is in
Stu
his
came
tree.
right after Jimmy the Greek.
Yeah.
I wonder if Stu had any FaceTime with you.
Yeah, that was going to be my question.
He probably would be like, he's a fucking scumbag. I love him to death.
Well, he had to be a big inspiration for Stu,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
How could he
definitely.
not be.
But
Definitely.
and then like you're right with the code words. Like Lee Corso used to do that too. Like closer than the
Musburger
experts
himself.
say. Yeah.
So when Northwestern, it was one of the worst beats of all time. When Northwestern had a game day versus OSU in 2014, OSU, they were down in the fourth quarter and ended up covering the 10.5 on the laterals as time was expired.
That was college game day.
It was college game day, and Musburger was like, there's going to be a lot of angry people after that touchdown.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But yeah,
He's always been gambling.
the whole story of Jimmy the Greek, like the fact that he was the first guy to kind of popularize gambling on a show like that. I also, the craziest thing is just the fact that it used to be you could get an edge in gambling by just reading the local papers.
Yeah.
Like in calling a couple guys.
Yeah.
Like the story of how he won $25K Raiders versus the Redskins in the Super Bowl just because Al Davis told him his team was so much faster than them.
Yeah.
That's all he needed.
He set up pollsters outside of grocery stores
Yeah.
to ask women if they preferred men with or without mustaches during the
That was crazy.
Yeah.
the Dewey versus
Truman.
election, and Dewey, he was 17-1 favorite, was it?
Something like that.
But he had a mustache, and he knew that the women weren't going to vote for a guy with a mustache, so he laid, I think it was $10,000 on the election, which is obviously like that's very new in 2024, and this is back in the late it would have been
50s?
52,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. No,
52?
48.
48 or
170,000.
or 52.
It's just great that
It's
he's
just-
handicapping presidential elections.
know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's running pollsters at grocery stores. He pulled a few hundred women, and he's like 4-1. They don't like mustaches. Give me the 17-1.
He got fucking pardoned.
Yeah.
But yeah, he got pardoned, a presidential pardon by Nixon.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ford.
by Ford. Yeah.
Ford.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool to get
Yeah.
pardoned.
Yeah.
For sure. And then like everyone was bullshit because he gave that 17.5 line for the Jets.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. It was, I mean, it's a cool story because it is really like to see where we're at now and having like, he obviously there had to be a first, and he was kind of the first.
Yep.
Also, like, weirdly respect the fact that he never fully sold out. That whole storyline of how he could have had a casino named after him and all that
The
stuff.
sports books, yeah.
His son seemed a little resentful that he didn't.
Yeah.
Billionaire.
My dad should have been a billionaire.
Yeah.
Which is right.
Should have.
He
Yeah.
should've.
He should have.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the end, it was very sad. Walking around with grease stains all over his
Yeah.
blazer.
Yeah.
Yeah, just being like, I'm
So-
a dead man
Yeah, exactly.
at the track.
Hanging out. I mean, he was in the shitty room of the track.
Yeah.
Like that's from CBS to that doesn't get much more sad. Than
Yeah. That CBS show, though, yeah, it is crazy to think that, like, that was the only thing you could watch before. It goes actually to our conversation 20 minutes ago about the NFL, just how far it's gone and how big it's gotten.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Because that was the only show.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was the only show.
Now every network has one.
Right. and you can watch every game. And
Right.
It's just and you know every little insider tip.
You can know as much as you want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It also kind of makes me yearn for like those are like the gambling guys. You know, now there's so many like nerds talking about gambling, and
It makes it not.
I love
fun.
I love that gambling is legalized. Obviously, been gambling for pretty much my whole life. Definitely my whole adult life. There are times where I wish it was just spread in total, just because then you can talk to everyone about it.
Yeah.
Where it's not sitting there being like, oh, I need this, this, and this. I need a touchdown. I need 10 yards. And it's like,
It's kind of why I don't like fantasy sports.
Do you have the underdog or the favorite?
Yeah.
You have the over or the under.
Yeah.
No, like people talk. There is an advantage. There is a line correction on Isaiah Likely's 13.5 yards.
Right.
Like, get away.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't want that.
Do you have any?
That's why I kind of like the DraftKings model, where it's like they really pump up the total, the over under, and touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like that is
touchdowns
perfect.
I like a lot.
Yeah.
Because that's just very cool.
And you're never really out of the touchdown bet
Right.
if you think about
Right.
it too. So I love
But
that.
you know what I mean? There's just so many.
Yeah.
It's just, he was such a perfect guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To bring gambling in.
Looked the part.
And
The
one of
name.
my biggest takeaways was I don't know if it was common knowledge. You know, Rozelle was such a horse guy and like kind of like,
Did not.
hey, I like it.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
the NFL has its roots in gambling. I think the Rooneys were bookies. The Steelers.
no.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Did not
I'm
know.
pretty sure you can look it up, Lance. They were
I'll
they were
pull it
big
up.
time gamblers. I think he might have bought the Steelers off of a bet. Like he won a bet. What was it, Art Rooney?
But yeah, to be the commissioner of the NFL, to be like, yeah, keep it going, Jimmy. Like, just don't
watch
say
your words
gambling and just
carefully.
Just
Yeah.
keep between the lines.
Do you have any good coming of age gambling stories like him, like in 10-year-old
Slot machines.
in
Slot machines for the
Steubenville,
Rooney's.
Ohio?
He was
I
also
actually-
involved in gambling.
Yeah.
What?
Yep. Yeah. Art Rooney was involved in gambling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like that's how he
Bookmaking
made
numbers
his
and slots.
Yeah, that's how he made his money to buy the Steelers. One of like the, first franchises.
He got slot machines that guaranteed him $1 million a year, and then he bought the Steelers in 1933 for $2,500.
Yeah.
He had
Pretty
an
good.
illegal gambling and drinking club called the Showboat
Awesome.
in
I'd go to
1928.
Yeah, he made all his money during the Depression.
That's awesome.
Give me your welfare checks.
But yeah, it's funny because then the NFL shunned it for so long.
Yeah.
And it's like this league was built on gambling.
Yeah.
It's the perfect sport to gamble on.
It is the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
The other little nugget where Jimmy the Greek, he said he made what was the equivalent of like $800,000 in today's money betting on
the Great Lakes versus Notre Dame.
it was like the Great Lakes Naval. So it was like
What was that?
So it's that base. It's still up in Evanston.
my uncle's stationed there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but they used to they had a football team from like 1918 until 1945. So I was like Googling it, and like it was basically a service academy, but only for the Great Lakes region.
I was like, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
With
What-
this.
What year did that come out? The 30 for 30?
Oh, I don't
2009.
2009. So even just speaking then, like how they said, like, yeah, casinos were like whorehouses now. Like that's how
Yeah.
Yeah.
who they were.
Yeah. It's nuts.
That's wild.
It is. It really is. He also like, is there a Jimmy the Greek sportsbook anywhere?
No.
No.
Then the Sun hasn't sold the naming rights.
Yeah, I don't know how he hasn't. You know.
I mean, tough way to go out. That interview, sitting at the table,
Yeah.
oof,
Yeah.
just going off. That was like a podcast, like a podcast that you'd afterwards be like, all right, we got to cut that part.
Yeah, dude, that was
It's tough.
But then the one guy said that it was because he just tried to sound smarter than what he really
Yeah,
was.
he was obviously very insecure.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, because
No college or high school education.
Stopped at 10th grade.
Yeah.
Steubenville, Ohio.
What are we watching?
I kind of want to go to Steubenville because by the description of it, it sounds like a third world country, and I want to kind of just be a fly in the wall there, at least in the 50s.
White Sox Dave goes to Steubenville.
Wouldn't that be kind of like it's
discovered
weird?
You might never come back.
I've heard like Youngstown, Ohio, like
I've been there.
middle America. So have I kind of, but it's like insanely mobbed up
Yeah,
for whatever reason.
very Italian. Well, it's not for whatever reason. It was because it's basically the midway point
between New
Chicago
York
and
City
New
and
York.
Chicago, right? It kind of gives that vibes. It's not too far from there, so I don't know. It's just a bunch of 10-year-old bookies running around and and hookers. It seems like very Sin City.
Just picking winners. It was like had some Sam Rothstein vibes.
I
to
would
it.
like. So I was wondering at the beginning until my head came to, and I'm like, is Jimmy the Greek based on Sam Rothstein? But they're two very like
Yeah.
I want to get all those guys. Obviously, they're all dead now, but like just in a dive bar and just throw questions to them. I bet these guys have the best stories of all time.
Yeah,
Just
sure.
Oh man.
Well, it's funny too because we say he would have been able to capitalize on it. I mean, look what Musburger's done.
I know.
Yeah.
He's been able to capitalize on all
Yeah.
of it. So
Big time.
it would have been the same for
I
him.
Dan
cannot-
Katz and Dave Portnoy.
Yeah. Big time.
I can't imagine Brett Musburger getting in a fist fight.
Well,
Like-
he didn't. He just got punched.
sounds
Yeah.
like he's
It
No,
like he
it
didn't
sounded
get-
like it said they were throwing chairs and shit.
Sounds like he's the one who got punched.
Yeah.
He didn't fight back. That makes sense then.
I also like that he could throw a punch and that's not like the end of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were joking about it
Yeah,
like
let's,
men.
Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's how it should be.
Yeah.
The next one we are
The
watching,
Steinbrenners.
The House of Steinbrenner.
Is that multiple episodes? Or
I think
one?
I've seen that one.
Okay.
It's just one. Yeah, that was the second time I watched the Jimmy the Greek one. It was definitely worse than I remember.
Yeah, you could just tell it was an early 30 for 30 that
Yeah.
just didn't have. And it also is probably because of the story, you don't have the guy alive still, so you can't talk to him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's from the 70s. Yeah, there's definitely better 30 for 30.
he probably could have used a 30 for 30 short, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I'd
Yeah.
agree.
it was still fine. It still was pretty short. 50 minutes in today's
Yeah.
day and age is like
Nothing.
crazy.
Yeah.
agreed.
All right, House of Steinbrenner next week. Anything else?
No,
No. All right.
the worst 3 weeks of the year.
Worst 3 weeks of the year. All right, we'll be back next week. Go watch that, and we'll talk about it. See you then.